A police chase that lasted 100 miles and took officers through 3 different counties. Who was arrested at the scene and how it ended, coming up on GMSA.
It's our coldest morning since February. Temperatures are in the 30s this morning, but don't get used to it. Big warm up on the way, and we've got some changes to the weekend forecast. It's all coming up.
A teen shot in the South Side is fighting for his life. Police are working to uncover who's behind the shooting and what led to it. We're going to show you what's happening next.
There's Wemby, scored 10 early in the fourth. Tie it.
All right, Victor Wembanyama doing some wild things in the Windy City, knocking down threes, late game winners. Up next, we're going to show you some of his theatrics and heroics as the Spurs get a big win in the Windy City.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And a good morning to everyone out there and happy Veterans Day. We, of course, are honoring our veterans today and military members. I'm RJ Marquez. Thank you very much for being with us.
And I'm Patty Santos. Today, as you said, November 11th. Thank you for starting your Tuesday with us. We're going to get you started for your day today. First thing you're going to need is a jacket again and to turn on the heat in the car.
Yes, that is all good advice, Patty, because it is cold out there. And by the way, I went to bed last night thinking the Spurs had lost.
Yeah.
They did not.
Nice comeback.
Spoiler alert. All right, so let's talk about these cold temperatures. It is the coldest morning since February with temperatures in the upper 30s right now. We've seen a couple places here in San Antonio slip down to 37, but we are not in danger of falling down to freezing, so that's good news. It's just going to be chilly. Warmth ahead. After this morning, we'll just be on a steady warm-up all the way into the weekend. So we'll have 80s in the forecast by Wednesday. No, it is going to get quite warm. And then what about storms this weekend? We talked a lot about that yesterday. Some things have changed. The timing has changed here, and we'll talk about why that is the case coming up here in just a couple minutes. All right, let's go outside for you, and it is 38 now here in San Antonio, 37 in New Braunfels, 38 Converse, 39 in Stinson. So pretty uniform numbers, at least here around the metro area. Bernie not reporting, but those temperatures are a little chillier up there in the hill country. By a degree or two, nothing too dramatic, and we've got light winds. Your forecast for today, 50 at 9 o'clock, 62 at 11 a.m., 69 at 1 p.m., and 72 is going to be your high. Another beautiful afternoon with sunny conditions. The only issue that we're going to have today is the fact that gusty winds are going to combine with some low humidity to create a fire danger. We'll show you where that danger is at its highest coming up in just a couple of minutes. But now over to your traffic authority, RJ Marquez.
All right, thank you very much, Justin. 6:01, let's get you out safe on the roads. Of course, probably going to be firing up that heater later on this morning for your morning drive. 24 minutes coming in from Bernie, not too bad. 17 minutes coming in from the far southwest side of town. Good morning to all of our folks out there in Lytle. How about 28 minutes coming in from Lavernia and 29 minutes coming in from Seguin. Earlier, we did have some overnight construction that was bottling some things up on 10 East, but that has been since cleared out. Take a look here. This is actually some good news. We're starting to see our traffic move along. 35 South. This is over by Evans Road. So earlier we had a pretty good backup from Topperwine all the way up to Evans. It looks like things are starting to clear out just a little bit. Still seeing a little bit of backup right here by Pat Booker, Live Oak area, and now stretching a little bit further south over by Topperwine. So we're looking at about a 25-minute delay right now for all of our folks on the northeast side of town, kind of navigate through this area. We, of course, will continue to follow the very latest out there for our drivers on the northeast side. And real quick, on the north side of town, we are getting reports of a potential fire over here by Blanco and Huebner roads. That's our camera at 1604 in Huebner, maybe causing some delays for all of our folks making their way north and south on Blanco Road. But again, we will keep you updated on the very latest and then also check in on things on the northwest side coming up in just a little bit.
Good morning, I'm Devin Karp in downtown San Antonio, and today a suspect is waking up in jail after leading police officers on a chase for 100 miles spanning through 3 different counties. This all started in McMullen County. We know at least one trooper was hurt in that pursuit. Deputies say there was a vehicle that was stolen from Bexar County, and when they tried to stop the driver, that driver kept going. That chase took them through Highway 16 and then through Atascosa in Bexar counties, and that's where the chase ended. The area of Kings Ride Boulevard and Applewhite Road on the city's south side, south of Loop 410. That's where the suspect drove over spike strips. That vehicle crashed into other cars. The suspect tried running off, but was eventually caught. The one state trooper that was hurt was taken to the hospital, and we can now confirm that trooper is going to be okay. We're also told that several undocumented migrants were taken into custody at the scene. For now, I'm Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you very much, Devin. Now to a deadly case of road rage on the north side. Police say that this all ended with gunfire between two drivers, and one of them is detained this Tuesday morning. So this all happened around 5:30 last night off Bel Air Drive near Lock Hill Selma and Northwest Military. Officers found a 58-year-old man dead at the scene. Investigators say that the other man is 23 years old. He lived nearby and actually went back into his home to grab another gun before the shots continued. He's now detained and cooperating with police, but at this point, detectives have not said if he'll face charges as they work to piece together exactly what led to this deadly confrontation.
A teenage boy is fighting for his life after being shot in the south side. According to San Antonio police, officers responded around 8:15 last night to Somerset Road and found a male, possibly 16, with a gunshot wound to the stomach. He is now in the hospital in critical condition. Now, who shot him and why remained unanswered so far. Not much else is known in this case.
Well, two drivers accused of racing and causing a crash on Interstate 10 last week could face upgraded charges.
San Antonio police say a man injured in that crash has died, and this scenario hits home for others on the road.
A lot of racing, a lot of cutting. Guys acting like they're playing video games. They're just cutting all across the lanes.
I think it's extremely dangerous. A lot of times you'll have to slam your brakes just so they can pass you.
It was racing that San Antonio police said led to the crash last Wednesday night on I-10 on the far east side. They say Kyle Jin Liu and Evan Moreno, both 20, were racing when they rear-ended another car, sending it out of control. 33-year-old Robert Espinosa in that other car died from his injuries this weekend. His son, also in the car, was hurt.
And it turns out that Liu has a history of trouble behind the wheel, including an arrest just last month for reckless driving. Data shows that they're not the only ones taking chances on the road. According to the Texas Department of Transportation, there have been 135 crashes, 1,000 crashes in the state related to speeding so far just this year, more than 6,500 in Bexar County alone.
I think the most important thing is you just let them pass you because they don't know what they're doing when they're swerving in and out.
And while some keep their distance from racing drivers, a recently passed state law gives police quite a bit of power over them. It allows them to seize the cars involved in street racing. There's no word on what San Antonio police plan to do in this case.
6:06 right now. San Antonio families say that they are living a nightmare after a crash on I-10 took the lives of a young mother and her two young boys. The victims were 23-year-old Giselle Cristobal and her two sons, 4-year-old Angel and 3-year-old Raul. They died just 2 weeks ago in a crash on I-10 on October 27th in the afternoon. The victim's family says that Giselle was taking a relative and their child to a doctor's appointment in Kerrville, but they had to make an emergency stop. Seconds later, they say that a semi-truck hit them.
My little babies, they didn't even get to live half their life. And she still had so much more to experience.
And that was Giselle's mom, Lisa Espinosa. The other woman and her daughter in this car survived. The Texas Department of Public Safety says the crash is still being investigated.
In your morning headlines, after weeks of political gridlock, the Senate has approved a deal to end the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. The 60-40 vote restores funding for federal agencies and gets hundreds of thousands of workers paid again. But the fight isn't over. The agreement sets up another showdown on December over health subsidies that impact millions of Americans. The bill now heads to the Republican-controlled House for approval. And we talked to a pair of local congressmen about the potential end of the shutdown and what happens next with the health care subsidies issue.
If they, schedule a vote eventually on these healthcare tax credits, that what I'm hoping is that we'll have some Republicans join us in supporting their extension because they're incredibly valuable to people.
We're going to need some actual reforms to the healthcare system so that the constituents I represent who are struggling to be able to afford to pay for just not insurance, but the actual care, we've got to fix the system. And the subsidies don't fix it. It makes it worse.
All right, now listen to this. Dozens of women are taking legal action against Army leadership right here in Texas, accusing officials of ignoring repeated warnings about a military doctor's alleged abuse. The lawsuit claims gynecologist Blaine McGraw was allowed to keep treating patients at Fort Hood despite past misconduct reports. He's accused of performing unnecessary procedures and even secretly recording exams. McGraw has been suspended, and his attorney says he's cooperating, but lawyers for the women call it a catastrophic failure of leadership. And it's not often we talk about winter coats in Florida, but today might be one of those days. An Arctic blast is pushing south, and we're talking about potentially record-setting cold even down there in Florida. Snow is expected near Lake Erie, and folks in the Midwest are still shoveling from yesterday's big storm. To make matters worse, airports like Chicago's O'Hare are seeing massive delays thanks to air traffic controller shortages. Here at home, San Antonio International Airport reports very few delays or cancellations.
I feel like when it gets cold here, but we don't want to shovel snow. Just saying. All right, outside with live cam, 80s, cold this morning. Temperatures are in the 30s here. And we're watching relative humidity levels very closely because it means there's a high fire danger today. We'll explain coming up.
All right, also coming up in just a bit, we're talking about this story. Major League players accused of rigging pitches to help bettors win big. Up next, we're going to tell you about the fallout and how this scandal is reshaping sports betting.
It's Veterans Day, and that means honoring those who serve. Up next, how some local businesses are saying thank you with some freebies and discounts.
And as Justin told us earlier this morning, a red flag warning is in effect today, and that means that fire danger is high. Stay tuned for the immediate actions the Texas A&M Forest Service says that you need to take.
When San Antonio needs help, San Antonio shows up. And yesterday, that was proved right once again at the Fill the Truck food drive at Pinstack on 410. Before sunrise, the giving spirit was already rolling. Our very first donation came in at $7.19, and from there, the generosity never slowed down.
There you go. Go for it, y'all. Put it in there.
By day's end, San Antonio packed the truck with more than 16,000 pounds of non-perishable food, diapers, and pet food.
How many meals does that equal for the San Antonio community?
Yeah, this amount of food, I mean, that's the equivalent of 13,333 meals, right? Just think about it. All those people, one meal, that's 13,300 people who are going to eat tomorrow because of everybody's generosity today.
And in a powerful show of support, Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union stepped up with a $25,000 donation to the San Antonio Food Bank, helping to ensure no family goes without food during this critical time.
When you think about $25,000, that turns into about 250,000 pounds of food. Wow. That truck over there'd be about 12 of those. So it goes a long way in helping us set the table for families in need.
And the impact doesn't stop here. You can continue to donate and support local families at safoodbank.org, or to get more information, visit our website, KSAT.com. For KSAT 12 News, I'm David Elder.
All right, really good stuff there from David Elder and the folks out there at Pinstack and the Food Bank. Well, today, of course, is Veterans Day. That means that city offices will be closed for the holiday, but trash and recycling services will continue as normal.
Yeah, several places around San Antonio are offering discounts and even freebies to honor our military today. Here are just a few of them. IHOP. Veterans can get a free red, white, and blueberry pancake combo. At Plucker's Wings Bar, vets can get a free meal, including an entree, side, and non-alcoholic beverage for up to a $16 value for dine-in only.
Okay, how about a main event? The location off of Highway 151 is offering a free double cheeseburger with fries, as well as 30 minutes of gameplay. The Express Car Wash, veterans can get a free car wash at all 5 locations in the San Antonio area.
And we have a whole lot of other discounts and freebies available to you right now on KSAT.com.
And today we want to let you know about this. On KSAT Plus, we'll be streaming our 1-hour news special on the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon. This is a deep look at the connections between San Antonio veterans and the Vietnam War. We're also going to share their stories, some of which have never been told in 5 decades. This all airs today at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then again at 9 p.m. in the evening on KSAT Plus. All right, let's give you a quick update on your traffic authority right here, because we do have an incident on the west to southwest side, which is going to likely tie up some traffic for a lot of folks that are making their way on parts of 90 and 410. So just before they turned on some of these emergency lights, it looked like we had an overturned vehicle, and it looked like this was a rollover that involved at least one vehicle. And again, this is going to be at 90 at 410. So for all of our drivers making their way over through Hunt Lane, Ray Allison, this will likely affect some of your morning traffic. So again, I'm checking in with TransGuide, KSAT to get the very latest information out there. This just popped up on our maps and just popped up on the KSAT website. So we will continue to gather more info as we get it. Again, 9410. Looks like we do have a rollover there for our folks on the west side of town. 35 right here, Judson Road. I kind of moved the camera a little bit and kind of moved our maps to kind of give us more of an idea of where we're seeing some of the backups. And this is actually not bad. 35 at Judson Road. Traffic starting to move along, but we have a little bit of delays here. About a 20-minute delay for all of our folks making their way. 35 south by 1604, Live Oak, all the way past Topperwine, of course, to Judson Road right there. So we will continue to track the very latest with our traffic over there on the northeast side of town. Quick check on the northwest side just for all of our folks out here. I-10 Daysavella Road traffic is looking pretty good if you're making your way past Hebner Road and past the Chavano Park area. 160410 over by UTSA, the main campus. We did clear out some overnight construction. All right, let's check in with our weather authority meteorologist for a look at today, red flag warning day. Justin.
Yes, RJ, it's going to be a busy day in the fire department, unfortunately, for when it comes to grass fires and just the ability for them to spread today. It's another red flag warning day, which means the danger will be high. And let's take a look at some video here from earlier this year where we had some grass fires. And it's just one of those days where we're going to have the high wind gusts, the low humidity, and that puts us in the line of where we could see some grass fires spreading. As cities grow, the chances for wildfires grow, and experts say it becomes harder to protect land from becoming a victim of fire. Texas A&M Forest Service wants homeowners to take action against wildfires.
The most influential part of the defensible space is that first 5 feet from your home to 5 feet out. So that includes things like the vegetation around your home.
Recent drought conditions and early freezes have continued to dry out vegetation, making fires easier to ignite and spread. The Texas A&M Forest Service monitors fire danger and works closely with local officials to prepare and respond accordingly. All right, let's take a look at the wind gusts today. We're going to see some gusts up around 25 miles per hour for parts of South Texas midday through the afternoon. And so that's why the concern is there, along with the low humidity. So one of the cutoffs, and I usually say below 20%, that's where we run into an issue with things getting sort of dangerous when it comes to wildfires. And we'll be right at that cutoff here in San Antonio. And especially as you go north, even though we've got a good southerly wind, humidity kind of lags behind that. So it's not going to be until tonight that humidity surges back in. So until that happens, we're going to have that high fire danger. This is from the Texas A&M Forest Service, and we see the orange and red colors. That's where you have a very high to extreme fire danger. And it covers a lot of ground here along and north of Highway 90 and north of I-10. All right, let's get you out the door to the bus stop this morning. It is chilly. Temperatures are in the 30s. I think we'll drop a degree or two more. So I'm going to say 37. Break out the thick coat this morning, but you only need it for a couple of hours. This afternoon, 72, sunny and breezy. And going through hour by hour here, 62 at 11 a.m., 66 at noontime. And we'll reach high right around 72 this afternoon before dropping into the 60s tonight. Very quickly, the futurecast, and you're going to hear a lot about this the next couple days. This upper level low that's going to be shifting towards Texas as we get into the weekend. Now, at this point, it has slowed down, and the track takes it a little bit further north. So this is a change from what we discussed yesterday. And I think the bottom line here is this means a quieter Saturday. Our rain chances may be more in the Sunday to Monday time frame, and that's where we could see a couple thunderstorms as well. So that is a bit of an alteration to the forecast. 81 tomorrow, 83 Thursday, 84 Friday. Look for that 30% chance of rain as we get into Sunday and Monday with overnight lows warming into the 60s.
All right. Thank you, Justin. 621 right now. We've actually dropped a degree, 38 degrees outside.
Getting colder and colder out there. Major League Baseball scandal shakes up sports betting. Up next, what happens now after 2 players are accused of rigging pitches.
In this morning's GMA First Look, why Major League Baseball is putting limits on prop bets. After Cleveland Guardians players Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz were accused of rigging pitches so bettors could take home a windfall, bets on balls and strikes are now capped at $200 each. The limit is meant to protect the game from what the baseball commissioner calls integrity concerns raised by these types of small wagers.
When activity like this takes place, particularly irregular betting patterns on smaller, obscure wagers, it can be identified, reported, and the bad actors can be rooted out.
Federal prosecutors say both players conspired with bettors to rig pitches in professional baseball games so that the bettors would profit, and sometimes they received bribes and kickback payments. Coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have much more on the MLB's decision and how they believe it will impact the game going forward. With your GMA First Look, I'm Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
All right, quick check of your pollen count. This was yesterday. Molds were low at 340. We'll see where they come in today, and we'll get you that updated number coming in here in about an hour or so. All right, our Just Ask Justin question has to do with the fact that it is Veterans Day. Thank you to all of our veterans out there. And what was Veterans Day originally known as? It had a different name once. Was it Remembrance Day, Armistice Day, Service Day, or Liberty Day? Weigh in. Go to ksat.com/poll, scan the QR code. We'll give you that answer here in about 30 minutes. It's our coldest morning since February. Temperatures are in the 30s this morning, but don't get used to it. Big warm up on the way, and we've got some changes to the weekend forecast. It's all coming up.
This morning, we're combing through this lawsuit right here, filed by some of the families at Camp Mystic after the deadly Hill Country floods. We're going to tell you what they're alleging that the camp operators knew and what they didn't know, and also what those operators and owners are saying this morning.
This morning, we're taking a look at the list of businesses and organizations that want to move into these 5 closed San Antonio ISD campuses. We're talking about Douglas, Pickett, Lamar, Gonzalez, and Brewer.
3 former San Antonio police officers found not guilty after the death of Melissa Perez back in 2023. Coming up on GMSA, what's next for them and what the Bexar County DA had to say about the case. Good morning, I'm Devin Karp with some breaking news. We are in an apartment complex over here on the north side with a lot of activity from the San Antonio Fire Department. I'm going to let you guys see just exactly what we are seeing out here. This is over at Oxford at Sunterra. It's at the 19900 block of Hebner Road right over here. It is just on the north side. So far, we're still waiting on some information from the San Antonio Fire Department, but we are seeing some of the crews start to wrap up some of their fire hydrant activities over here, turning off some of the water, checking in on some of the units. So far, we have not seen any flames or smoke. We are waiting for official confirmation on what exactly is going on, but a lot of residents have been asking questions about just what's going on. So far, again, we have not seen any fire or smoke coming out of here. There are a lot of units on scene. We're going to work our best to keep you updated over here on the air and online at KSAT.com with everything that we find out as soon as we learn it. For now, I'm going to go ahead and I'll send it back to you guys in studio. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Devin. And it is 6:30 now as we get you going on this Tuesday morning, Patty.
Hey there. Good morning, everyone. It is Veterans Day. Thank you so much for your service. We're getting you ready by making sure that you have your coat, Justin.
It is a necessity this morning. It is cold out there, a little colder than yesterday. We've seen temperatures slip into the 30s. Sunrise will be here in about 25 minutes. Sunset will be at 5:40 this evening, so we'll have 10 hours of daylight today. But you can see the sun there starting to come up on the horizon. Beautiful morning. If you like crisp, cold mornings, temperatures holding in 38 right now. 37 in New Braunfels, 38 Converse, 39 in Stinson. There is just a little bit of a breeze, but not enough to really even stir up a wind chill. And that's really one of the reasons temperatures are dropping. When you have light winds and clear skies, you get numbers like this. 37 to start. 50 at 9 a.m. We'll make our way up to 72 this afternoon, and it only goes up from here. Actually, temperatures get quite a bit warmer starting tomorrow. We'll dig into that forecast, some changes for the weekend forecast too, plus a solar flare that happened overnight. We're going to get you the details on that coming up in just a couple of minutes. But now over to your traffic authority, RJ Marquez.
All right, Justin, very busy as we get you going here. 6:32 right now. Our biggest delay is going to be 34 minutes coming in from New Braunfels as we do have some backup over by 35 Judson Road. 20 minutes coming in from Castroville, 25 minutes if you're coming on the far northwest side in Bernie. Quick check at our accident right here. This is going to be 410. Got a little bit more information since the last time that we checked in on this about 10 minutes ago or so. This is going to be 410 south. So this is going to be south of Marbach right before you get to 410 and 90 on the west side of town. town. Still have several emergency officials on the scene. This will likely tie up some traffic over here on the west side of town. Again, 410 South right there at 90 at that interchange right now, which usually gets pretty busy for our drivers on the south and southwest and west sides of town. Again, 35 south of Judson Road, traffic looking much better. And a quick check at that incident over here that Devin just reported on. Again, a fire being reported over here by Huebner and Blanco roads. It looks like for the most part our traffic over by Huebner not being affected at the moment, but we will continue to keep an eye on the situation for our drivers on the north side of town. Okay, let's get to one of our top stories during our 6:30 half hour here. Two major lawsuits are now pending over the deadly Hill Country floods. Families of children who died at Camp Mystic are suing the camp's owners. In the first suit, filed by parents of the Heavens 27 group, that alleges gross negligence and reckless disregard for safety. It claims the camp housed girls in flood-prone cabins and failed to follow state evacuation rules, calling the deaths an entirely preventable tragedy. Hours later, another suit was filed by the family of Eloise Peck. That was an 8-year-old camper who died. Both suits seek over $1 million in damages. Camp attorneys say that staff did their best during this unprecedented disaster.
Do not take 9-year-old girls who weigh 63 pounds on average into raging floodwaters. They're going to get washed away.
Seal's life ended not because of an unavoidable act of nature, but because of preventable failures.
Well, we've learned that Camp Mystic plans to reopen next summer with new safety protocols. KSAT is reviewing the documents and will keep you updated on the very latest information. And the very latest here, 3 former San Antonio police officers are home free after a jury returned a not guilty verdict on all counts in the shooting death of Melissa Perez back in 2023. The trial lasted 21 days. In the end, the jury cleared Alfred Flores, Nathaniel Villalobos, and Eleazar Alejandro of murder and aggravated assault charges. Now that the case is over, the question now is what happens next with those 3 former officers?
What's next for them?
There are many remedies that are available for these individuals, and we're going to have to explore them carefully.
What do you mean remedies?
Well, there are remedies at law, and I'm not going to go into them at this time.
Potential like civil action?
I'm not going to go into them at this time, but there are potential remedies for a malicious prosecution, a prosecution based on a lack of probable cause.
And as for the prosecutors on this case, they rushed out of the courtroom, and we later got this response from the Bexar County District Attorney's Office. Quote, the Bexar County District Attorney's Office respects the jury's verdict and has no further comment, end quote. And here's SAPD's response. The city acknowledges the jury verdict today. However, the civil litigation and disciplinary processes are separate and distinct from the criminal process, and we will continue to defend the city in the civil litigation and the discipline issued for the former officers involved, end quote. The San Antonio Police Officers Association, or SAPOA, also responding to the trial verdict here, saying that they are, quote, thankful for the not guilty verdict handed down by a Barry County jury today, as in yesterday, end quote. They also took aim at the city and prosecution, saying, quote, we have complained about the double standard within the department and the fact that wrong decisions are being made due to political pressures. D.A. Gonzalez and co-prosecutors Daryl Harris and David Lunan have no place representing our communities, end quote. Each officer's original charges carried maximum sentences of life in prison.
KSAT investigator has confirmed Regina Santos Aviles, a staffer for U.S. Rep. Tony Gonzalez, died by suicide. The Bexar County Medical Examiner says the cause listed self-immolation, which means she set herself on fire. In September, Uvalde police told us she was alone when the fire started at her home. Our KSAT Investigates team has requested the 911 calls, police reports, and body cam footage from that day. Uvalde police and the Texas Rangers are still investigating. If you or someone you know is struggling, there is help available. You can reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988 or using the chat box at 988lifeline.org. You can also text MHA to 741-741 to reach the crisis text line. Okay, this morning we are getting a first look at the companies interested in moving into San Antonio ISD's building left vacant by more than a dozen school closures. These are some of them. We got this list through an open records request. Here's some of them. San Antonio Scottish Rite Library and Museum, Tax Position, which appears to be a science and technology center. Some churches are also interested in moving into the buildings, and that's just for the first 5 campuses that are on their list. There have still not been requests for proposals for other campuses. But community meetings to discuss those other campuses are ongoing. On November 28th, there's going to be a meeting to discuss the Rodriguez Montessori campus at 6 p.m. You can head to KSAT.com and search SAISD for coverage of this SAISD right-sizing effort.
Some other local news this morning. San Antonio soon projected to house close to 50 data centers. That's according to District 6 Councilman Rick Galvan. There are clusters of data centers in San Antonio that are established or will be in the upcoming years. These centers that provide power, they power our online activity, but they come with a little bit of controversy as well. And that's because some of these centers may have a negative impact on the environment. Councilman Galvan filed the first request for City Council to consider tracking and regulating these centers.
But currently there's little to no specific regulation on the way data centers are constructed or allowed to be built. So, well, what things can we do here to make sure that these entities are providing some community benefits in the area? How can we make sure that they're reducing impacts to the environment overall? How can we make sure that the energy and water usage here is being used as effectively as possible and not, anything too extreme? I'm not sure if that'll happen through the CCR. It's going to be a conversation the City Council will have, about what our direction is. But I think it's worth the conversation given that we are one of the largest markets for new development of data centers in the state.
Well, Councilman Galvan said there are approximately 14 centers in District 6 alone. Visit KSAT.com for a look at the full interactive map of these locations based on the data set provided by his office.
All right, outside with live cam, 6:39, 38 degrees. Clear skies, sun is on its way up. Coming up this weekend, we have some changes to the forecast. I wish it was good news. It's really not. Our rain chances are going down. I'll explain why coming up.
And a rollover crash this morning on the west and southwest sides of town. We are tracking the very latest on 90 at 410 as we get some emergency vehicles on the scene. We're also going to give you an update on the traffic conditions out in the northeast side and northwest sides coming up in just a little bit.
We could see an increase in cases, hospitalizations, and unfortunately deaths.
Listen to this. Flu season is arriving early and it is worse than last year. Up next, why doctors warn we could be in for a tough winter.
Good morning, I'm Devin Karp at KSAT 12 News. We've got an update on the apartment fire that we just heard about and told you a little bit about earlier this morning. Take a look behind me. Crews are starting to wrap up over here at Oxford at Sonterra. This is over on the north side, right off of Huebner Road. Here's what we were able to hear so far from the San Antonio Fire Department. They said that there was a fire that was electrical by nature that affected a couple of these units in the back of the complex so far. They say that a couple families are going to be displaced from this. They're still working to assess the damage and exactly what caused the fire. They're still not sure yet. It is cold season, and in the past we have seen a lot of fires spark up, especially when people plug in heaters, but again, that is not confirmed. We are still waiting for the exact cause. In the meantime, though, the fire is out. Crews are starting to wrap up some of their work here. CPS Energy is on scene, and we do know that those families who will be displaced are currently working with the Red Cross to find other accommodation for living right now at the moment. We'll make sure to keep you updated over the air and online at KSAT.com. For now, I'll send it back to you all in the studio. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thanks, Devin. Now let's talk about your health and the growing concern about flu season. As Sophie Flay reports, flu reports from overseas could be a sneak peek of things to come right here in the U.S.
This morning, flu cases overseas are raising concerns here at home. The flu season in the UK hitting doctors' offices and hospitals 1 month earlier than usual, with cases 3 times higher than the same time last year. And in Japan, some schools have been forced to close. The reason? A new variant of the flu strain, the H3N2.
We have seen decreasing population-wide vaccination for a variety of reasons. And so you have a more vulnerable population and a more serious strain of the virus. This tells us we could see an increase in cases, hospitalizations, and unfortunately deaths.
Here in the U.S., a record 280 children died from the flu last season, the highest level since 2009. This year, Doctors say the government shutdown is posing an extra challenge, with the CDC not updating its data for weeks.
We're starting to see a low rise in places like Georgia and Hawaii, but we're also flying blind because we don't have the same data we once did about flu. So getting that vaccine now to protect against a potentially early flu season is absolutely critical.
The vaccine is recommended for everyone over the age of 6 months, but vaccination rates among children are on the decline, with less than half vaccinated last season, compared to more than 60% before the COVID pandemic. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
All right, 6:46, excuse me. We're about to step outside, taking a look at your traffic authority, and some good news for our drivers on the west side of town. It looks like we're in the process of clearing out that one accident that was going to be on the access road of 410 South right before you got to Highway 90. So this is going to be affecting all of our traffic coming down from the Marbach area, making its way through Hunt Lane and Ray Ellison. That is a live look exactly what's going on in the scene there. It looks like they have cleared out or in the process again of getting that tow truck to clear out that incident there. It was a rollover crash. Hopefully that driver is okay. Still trying to gather some details on that, but we've been tracking that accident for the better part of 45 minutes or so. Northwest side of town, traffic starting to build for all of our drivers making their way up Braun, New Gilbo, kind of Shanefield Road area. Not too bad right now if you're headed out to Bandera Road and the Helotes area. And one more quick check at the situation on the northeast side of town, and things are looking great for our drivers out here. 35 south of Judson Road, smooth sailing for all of our folks that are making their way on the northeast side on this Tuesday morning.
Against Vucevic, Wemby a three, San Antonio in front, another triple.
Yes, in case you missed it, another dramatic win for our Spurs, and of course, it was Wemby to the rescue. Spurs were down late in the fourth quarter before Victor sinks a transition three. You saw that one to tie the game, and then right after he hit that three-pointer, another shot from downtown yet again. That was the winner in the Windy City. Look at Wemby crossing my man up there. Spurs win 121-117. San Antonio now 8-2. This is their best start since the 2015 season. Wemby led the way with 38 points, including 6 three-pointers. Spurs are back home to play the Warriors tomorrow night.
All right, well, it's Veterans Day, and that means city offices are going to be closed for Veterans Day, but trash and recycling services continue as normal.
That's right, Patty. Several places around San Antonio offering discounts and freebies to honor our military today, and here are just a few of them. At IHOP, veterans can get a free red, white, and blueberry pancake combo. Pretty cool. At Plucker's Wing Bar, vets can get a free meal, which includes an entree, side, and also a non-alcoholic beverage.
And at Main Event, the location on State Highway 151 is offering a free double cheeseburger with fries, as well as 30 minutes of gameplay. The Express Car Wash. If you need your car washed, veterans can get a free wash today at all 5 locations in San Antonio.
We have a whole lot more discounts and freebies available for you. All you got to do is scan that QR code or go to our website, KSAT.com.
Yeah, I love that Military City USA is taking care of their veterans. We appreciate you and we thank you for what you do. All right, we've got to get to some news that happened overnight. Solar flare was detected. This was a strong one from the Space Prediction Center. They are saying that this is one of the strongest ones of the year. Now, what does that mean for us? Not a whole lot. It was brief, but this could cause some signal loss in high-frequency communication like radio and GPS. We shall see. But anyway, sort of interesting space news that happened just a few hours ago, in fact. All right, temperatures right now, 38 degrees at the airport, 37 Port SA, 37 Stinson, 38 Converse, 40 in Bulverde, 37 in Bernie. Comfort reporting 31. I think that's a little bit low, but we shall see. That's a spot that is reporting temperatures below freezing, but that would be the only one. High temperatures today into the low 70s. A really gorgeous day. If you're going to be out and about, sunny skies. The only issue that we may have are some gusty southerly winds. We could see some gusts of around 25 miles per hour. You pair that with low humidity, and there are fire weather alerts that stretch from deep South Texas all the way up to the Abilene area. Humidity will increase, though, after today, so the fire threat goes away. And in fact, with that added humidity, some fog possible Wednesday and Thursday, and then by the time we get into the weekend, maybe some rain chances, although This is changing a little bit. This is the newest updated computer models that are just coming into our system. And this storm system continues to want to slow down. What does that mean? Well, that's going to really hold rain chances off, I think, until Sunday and maybe even Monday at this point. So what's changed? Much slower timing. They also have, these models also have this going much further north. So this is a big change from what we were talking about yesterday. I think that almost certainly means a quieter Saturday, but we will keep some rain chances in Sunday and Monday, some low-end rain chances. But I must tell you, this is looking less and less like a rain event for us, just maybe smaller impacts. Temperatures will be in the 80s next few days. We will put those rain chances in Sunday into Monday, but stay tuned because there could be some further changes to that forecast. All right, our Just Ask Justin question this morning has to do with the fact that it is Bush Veterans Day. I wanted to know, what was Veterans Day originally known as? Was it Remembrance Day, Armistice Day, Service Day, or Liberty Day? What do you think?
Okay, so I think I voted Liberty Day.
Okay. You're with 5% of the votes.
Patty is the 5%. I'm going B. I'm going with the audience. Armistice Day.
That's cheating.
No, I actually did know this one.
It is indeed Armistice Day. Why is that? Well, it has to do with World War I. So Armistice Day was commemorated every year after 1918 on November 11th to mark the armistice signed between the Allies and Germany to end World War I. It was changed to Veterans Day in 1954 to celebrate all veterans who have fought in wars.
And I want to take the time to say thank you to my husband who served in the Army, Big Red 1 in Fort Riley, Kansas.
Yes, a big thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, big thank you to all of our veterans and enlisted military members. Okay, coming up on GMSA Plus, the Senate has approved a deal to end the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. Coming up, why the shutdown, though, isn't over just yet.
All right, look at temperatures at this hour, down to 39 at the airport. In fact, that's up a degree. 38 Converse, 37 Stinson, 40 in Boulevardy, 37 Bernie, 31 right now in Comfort. So there are a couple of spots maybe close to freezing, but we're going to see these numbers start to come up here very soon, and it will turn into a really, really nice day. 56 at 10 a.m., 66 noontime, 72 will be your high, and know that it gets much warmer by the end of the work week. Some changes out by the weekend, and it looks like any rain chance is really going to hold off now until late in the weekend and maybe even into early next week. So we may eke out a pretty good weekend here, RJ.
All right, thank you very much, Justin. 6:56. Let's get you out the door safe. Before we get to 7 o'clock, we do have an accident to let you know about. This is going to be 37 southbound right before you get to the 3710 interchange. Having emergency officials on the scene. We will continue to follow this as we get set for GMSA Plus. One more citywide look. Everything else across the city is looking pretty good. Again, we have got all your news, traffic, weather coming up in just a few minutes.
What?